G'day there guys, my name's Marky and welcome back to some more stories from Reddit. Sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the Barbie, let's get right into it. Am I the asshole here for cutting off my family for getting a restraining order on my husband? I, 33 female, have been married to my husband, 32 male, for a few months, but we've been together for 6 years. My parents had asked us to move into their house 2 years back to help them out since my dad is medically disabled. We agreed because this would allow us to save up for a house. When I was 19, my father had a brain tumor, and at the same time, his mother was in the hospital and it wasn't good. My mum spent all of her time at the hospital with my grandma, so I decided to take 2 years off from college and put in a leave of absence from my job until my dad was better so I could take care of him and my brother who was younger. Fast forward, I met my now husband at work and we hit it off. From the beginning, he took it upon himself to take my father to appointments and fix things around the house for them. When we moved in, my husband fixed the house for my parents every day after working 10 hours a day. Anything they asked of him, he did. He fixed the dryer 6 times, he repaired the HVAC system, he is not in HVAC, he took his personal time to learn the basics so that heat would work, and anything else they needed. So now we're married for a few months and have been looking for a home. My mother has been rude and passive-aggressive with him ever since we got married. Some backstory on my childhood. I was emotionally abused by my mum and was taught how to hate my father because he was always working. My mother always used to tell me that my dad had no time for me and to not bother him for anything. My mother once broke an easel over my head when I was 6 because I was playing Barbies with my friend, and she wanted to play with my new one, and I told her she could play with any other one that she wanted. My mother has always been toxic, but I was always gaslit by family and friends, and it was always my fault. My brother, on the other hand, had stolen from my parents, stolen thousands and thousands of dollars from them, became addicted to hard drugs, and has threatened to beat my parents and myself multiple times. He's the golden child and can do no wrong. I have always resented my parents for this, but was always made to believe that I was being stupid and that it was my fault. My husband and I have put our own money into my parents' house to help fix it for them with no request for payment back. My parents have been ungrateful for everything that we, especially my husband, have done for them, but we kept doing it because we lived there too. I was recently told by my therapist that in order to be healthy for myself and my husband, I would have to confront my parents about all the issues and trauma that I had been dealing with. So I do this, and all of a sudden, they claim that my husband is brainwashing me. In their words, there was never an issue, so why am I speaking up now? I was explaining to them that my therapist wants me to work on being more healthy with my family, and that is why I chose to speak to them. My husband and I received many gifts for our wedding, and both of my parents said to place them in a room that no one uses. Just recently, they've been complaining about the gifts and told us to figure out storage. So yesterday, we bought a small shed from Sam's Club so that we can place all of our things in it. This is what set my mother off. She said that it was her house and we had no right to purchase it. When we tried to explain the reason for it, she started screaming at my husband, telling him he does nothing in the house and we just choose to do whatever we want to do because we are selfish. She also said that she wanted us out of her house. I told her that we had no place to go and that we needed time. She then charged my husband and went to punch him in the face. My father stopped her and then they called the police. When the police came, they told us that they felt sorry for us because we hadn't done anything, but that they decided to place a temporary restraining order on my husband and that they wanted me evaluated for brainwashing and Stockholm Syndrome. All of this over a frickin' shed? The cops came a few hours later and said that I didn't have to leave, but that temporarily he would have to. So we packed up our things and our dog and left to a hotel. I've been getting messages from family saying that I'm in the wrong and that I'm an asshole because I put my parents through hell. I've decided for my own mental health that I need to cut off all the toxic family members because my husband and I don't deserve this. Am I the asshole here? Edit. Hey all. I noticed my wording about the Stockholm Syndrome and brainwashing nonsense sounded like it came from the cops. I'm sorry. My parents were yelling and begging the police to evaluate me because I would never speak to them like this on my own. The police obviously didn't do anything of the sort, and even told my parents that I was clearly speaking for myself and was under no duress. In the comments, BitBat Gaming says, "Not the asshole. They have already decided to be enemies with you in childhood." OP says, "Thank you. I never thought of it like that, but you're right. OP, go check out r/raised by narcissists. You are not alone." And OP says, "Thank you so much. This comment made me cry. I felt like I've been alone in all of this except for my husband. Thank you, thank you. There's a whole community of support for you. I followed the subreddit a couple years now, and it's been so helpful for me. I hope that it helps you too." OP says, "Thank you so much. I appreciate your help and kind words, and I hope that you continue to be blessed. Just a word of warning, the first stage is grief, because you have to grieve the parents that you've always hoped to have. After you get to acceptance, it becomes easier to deal with once that hope is fully gone." Why the hell would you put up with them for so long? OP says, "I was always taught and conditioned to believe family over everything, and then I met my now husband who has been a blessing, and he showed me my worth. Blood means nothing. Family is who you choose." And OP says, "I live by that now, and I'm just happy that I have a husband who loves me and who has a family that truly loves us." And then you decided to move in with them again. OP says, "I've said it before. I thought that it was normal and that I was the issue. I was always taught that family is everything and that I should always believe that my parents will always be there for me." Right. And then you met your husband and he showed you your true worth, and then your mum asks you to move in. So it's been at least 2 years of you knowing that this is wrong, and despite her apparently treating your husband like shit, you continue to do everything for them and not leave. Hell, you're buying a damn shed, and apparently the only thing to get you out of there is them filing a restraining order. OP says, "My husband refused to leave unless we were told by law enforcement to leave the premises." I just know that you guys are going to cook these mean commenters for saying mean things. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I think some people just assume that everyone should understand what narcissists are like, and that everyone should just understand that they need to leave these situations straight away and do better for themselves. And then they become jaded that they read hundreds of stories with reoccurring circumstances like this. I get that they're jaded, but I think that some of these people need to step back for a second and not be so mean to people that are figuring it out, that are coming out of the brain fog of abuse. The fact that the police are like, "Jesus Christ, you're struggling with Stockholm Syndrome right now. This is not okay." That just shows me that OP is so early days in their journey of rediscovery, of finding their own worth. OP did such a good job, in my opinion, of pushing back against these commenters, and I hope that they get the outcome that they deserve. So not the asshole here for cutting off your family. They are absolutely disgusting people. And now, on to the updates. Hello Reddit friends. For those of you who read my first post, it's been 80 days since I posted it, and a lot has changed. My husband and I found a house, and will be moving into our home at the end of August. I'm currently low contact with my parents, only because a lot of our things are in their house, and I've already set up a day for the movers to come help me gather all of our belongings, and yes, my parents know that we are taking our things. My parents were given no information, other than we found a place of our own. My father has ignored me since the situation they caused, and basically blames me for it, but then tells my mum out loud that he's not mad at me when I'm there. My mother thinks that all is well, even though I tell her that our relationship is the furthest from fine, but narcissistic parents will believe what they want. Once all of our things are out of the house, I'm cutting all contact with my parents and whoever else needs to go. My husband and I, even though this is a difficult situation, have gotten stronger and are living a fairly peaceful life. Therapy has been wonderful, and all the wonderful things that are coming our way, we are welcoming with open arms. One thing I realized, other than my parents being narcissists, is that I really did go through a lot of trauma throughout my life, and my parents still think that they are the best parents out there. There was a moment in the beginning of all of this where I thought that I couldn't keep going. When I came out of that place and was strong again, I spoke with my parents about it since my mum kept telling me how much they care about me still. Their response to all of this was, "Oh, well, that's not our fault, and shit happens." They're right. Shit does happen, and it's gonna hit them hard once I'm out of their lives for good. Thanks for all the kind words and advice. I thought I'd share with those, if anyone, who cared to know how we are doing. I cared to know how you're doing, OP, and I love that you are doing better. In the comments, Stolen Trollin says, "Congrats on finding a house and starting your own life away from your toxic family. Sometimes no contact is the only way to heal. It's been over 20 years with my family, and I'm still thankful for every peaceful day without their narc shadow darkening and poisoning everything and everyone around them." OP says, "Thank you so much. I hope you continue to thrive in your life. At first, I thought that I could never go no contact, and now I realize how much more peaceful my life is without them trying to control everything in it. It seems such a huge step, and then you realize how much better your life is." OP says, "Seriously, it's been such a blessing in disguise. May I suggest that you not tell your parents the date on which you'll have the movers at their house? This is because they may decide last minute that you are still being brainwashed and either get rid of your belongings or hide them from you. Also, let the police know that you will be there and why. You can do that either by calling the non-emergency number or making a quick stop at the police department before going to your parents. That way, if a conflict of any kind were to happen, the police would already know what your intent is. I'm so sorry that you're going through all of this. Good luck." OP says, "Thank you so much, and I will definitely be taking your advice. Congratulations on your new home. That is exciting news. I'm glad to read that you're in therapy. The longer you go, the better the peace you'll have. Through therapy or on your own, learn as much as you can about dealing with narcissistic behavior, how to speak to them, and how to defend and deflect from their attacks. Even though it's right, you may feel a little off kilter. You are mourning a loss, and there are stages of mourning. Like another commenter said, you have reached acceptance. The next stage is indifference. When you reach indifference, it won't matter anymore, because you won't care anymore and can let it go." OP says, "I'm so excited that I feel so free. I love this feeling, and I'll continue to work and do better for myself and my little family." Update 2. Hello Reddit friends. So if you haven't seen my previous posts, check out my profile for the other two. So my husband and I moved into our new house, and we are loving the freedom. When I went to my parents' house on Friday to help the movers, my brother began saying some disrespectful things to me for no reason. I was moving my stuff outside when he stopped me to tell me how shit I am, and the whole family is so happy for me to be out of the house permanently. I took this moment to see if my mother or father would stand up for me for once, and they didn't. Therapy has been so helpful throughout this process, so it didn't bother me that he said it or that they did nothing. It just makes cutting them off so much easier. My mother then texted me asking if she and I can work on our relationship. I told her that I'm not ready right now because she had still proven that my brother and my father disrespecting me does not faze her. That's when she hit me with the, "I've done so much for you and you treat me this way?" Well, the answer is yes, because my life is much better without their toxicity. My husband and I are so happy to have this home for ourselves and for our fur baby. I just want to thank you all so much for all the support and kind words that you shared. If anything with my parents comes up, I'll update, but at the moment, this is the last. I hope you all have wonderful lives and just never give up. Stay strong and kick life's ass. In the comments, Bizaster says, "I have a family member like this, and the best solution I've found is to cut them off completely, ignore them, and live your own life. I now live a wonderful life in another state where I never have to interact with this person. Do your own thing, never feel bad, and let yourself be happy." OP replies, "Beautiful advice. I wish you nothing but the best. I'm already loving the freedom and the fact that I don't have to interact with them. Messed up people like that do not give up that easily. Put your cameras up in the morning and just keep your head on a swivel. That means pay attention, because now that they don't have you in the house anymore to be their doormat, they want to be upset. Especially now that you are absolutely going to be living your best life. And those miserable pieces of shit don't want you to be happy, but you will be. God bless you." OP says, "Thank you so much. I believe that God has given me the husband that I have because he set up our cameras on day one and has inspired me to be much stronger than I thought I could be. Now that they're not in my life, I feel so calm and happy. I feel like a totally different person. I sure hope that her family doesn't know where she moved to and check all of her stuff for tracking devices just to be safe. I wouldn't put it past her genetic donors and their darling baby boy from trying shit. She also needs to inform the police that she's safe and happy in case they try to report her missing or something. Also, both need to tell their employers that her family isn't to know anything about them. Hope her and her husband have a happy and healthy life together. The parents are going to miss OP and her husband when the HVAC goes out again and they suddenly have to pay for the repairs. Either that, or they'll call on the drug addict brother to fix it and are just shocked when the copper wiring goes missing. Wait, the mother assaulted the kid because the mother wanted to play with the Barbie, or the other kid wanted to? I think the other kid wanted the new doll, OP refused, OP's mum punished her for refusing. Unfortunately, this is something that I can relate to in my own childhood. Yeah, that's one that really kind of stuck with me and then got brushed under the rug and not mentioned again. Holy shit, what a childhood. You're playing with Barbie dolls and then you have a disagreement with your sibling, which is perfectly normal, so your mum's response is to break an easel over your head as a child. Truly psychotic parenting right there. Oh my god, I'm surprised you even survived childhood. It's a miracle that you're actually a well-adjusted person at all, given the circumstances, so truly I want to give you a standing ovation for being able to break out of those shackles and being well-adjusted enough to even escape. Best of luck for you and your future with your husband, OP. I wish nothing but the best for you two, and I'm so happy that everything is looking up now. I don't even expect another update in the future, and thank you for sharing your story with us. Our next post is by user Throwaway Cheated on 3, titled, "Am I the asshole here for telling my now ex-girlfriend that her manic episode was no excuse for her cheating? I, 25 male, dated my now ex-girlfriend, 25 female, for 2 years. For the most part, things were going great, although there were issues with her sometimes, usually with fits of anger, but it wasn't too bad. Well, all of that came crashing to an end when my girlfriend had what was a manic episode. After drinking copious amounts of alcohol on a night out, she had a severe manic episode where she spent $10,000, cheated on me by sleeping with a random stranger, and then sending incomprehensible audio messages to me. She was checked into a mental health facility after that episode and diagnosed with BPD. She had long suspected that she maybe had this, but it had never manifested so intensely. The psychiatrist said that she had underwent psychosis, severe mania, and had BPD. Since then, she was placed on meds and undergoes talking therapy. Shortly after, she confessed to me she had cheated and was extremely remorseful, saying she would never do anything like that. I was shocked by her admission and had to hide my tears. I basically stormed out and went to a hotel by myself for a few days. I then plucked up the courage to confront her. She tried telling me that she loves me and that she has a lot of regret for what she did and that she feels immense shame and that it's because of her sickness. I told her that her mental health issues are not an excuse and that it has nothing to do with that and that she cheated because that's just who she is. I then told her that we are finished. She then began sobbing uncontrollably, saying that she wants to end her life. That really hurt me, but I stood firm. I told her that her cheating is her own fault, and it's a reflection of who she is, and that she needs to stop hiding behind her mental issues. Her friends have been messaging me calling me an asshole and heartless, but I feel like they're the ones being heartless. Am I the asshole here? In the comments, Mr. 435 says, ex-wife had an episode after first child, things resolved, 13 years free of major manic episodes, and then it came back in regular cycles. Cycled for another 12 years, had an affair, asked for a divorce which was granted, and then married the guy, saved on alimony. If she doesn't take her meds regularly, then bail out. Psychosis literally implies that they are not capable of rational thought and were not acting like themselves. It's okay to be hurt by her actions, it's another thing entirely to wholesale write her off as a bad person due to ignorance of mental health crises. I agree with this. Breaking off the relationship is wholly fair game, but your actions have nothing to do with your psychosis, it's purely because you're just a bad person, displays a huge lack of awareness on what psychosis actually means. These people should most likely be separate right now for both their sakes. It's not her fault that she has BPD, but it's her responsibility. Facing the consequences of one's actions is a part of that, whatever those may be. Exactly. Mental health struggles are real, but they don't excuse harmful actions. Accountability is key, and sometimes that means accepting the consequences of those actions, even if it is painful. If she had legit manic psychosis, she did not know what she was doing. He can feel how he feels, but that shit is real, and legit BPD-1 with psychotic features is no joke. Exactly. If someone is seriously experiencing a different reality in their mind, how is it blaming it on their mental illness when that's a legit explanation for what they're doing during that? I don't blame him for breaking up, but there's a big misunderstanding of what mania and psychosis is here on a wider level. She may or may not have been responsible for what she did, but neither case means that he has to stand there and take it. Yeah, I think best case scenario here is that he just breaks up with her. It's obvious that there is a huge incompatibility here, and I'm not blaming him at all for feeling the way he feels as a result of her actions. She did cheat. And this is one of those instances where she genuinely wasn't in control of her own actions, and if she had been, I'm sure the cheating wouldn't have happened. That's not me excusing her behavior eitherwards. It's just an unfortunate circumstance that both find themselves in. This is a rock and a hard place. I think it's a hard one to judge if you're an asshole or not for saying that the manic episode was no excuse for her cheating. While yes, it is an explanation as to why she cheated, I think if you were genuinely not experiencing the same reality as you normally do, that is an excuse. I feel like that's permissible. Having talked to people who go through legit psychosis and what their thought processes were and what they were hearing inside of their heads terrifies me, and it's not something I ever want to experience in my life. I think the only thing wrong that OP has done here is be completely ignorant of the reality of psychosis. And that's fine, not everyone knows everything about everything. I don't want to attribute malice where it could easily be ignorance, and you're not an asshole for being ignorant. And now, onto the update. So, comments were split quite evenly. Many saying that I was not the asshole, but many saying that I was completely misinformed on mental health. Admittedly, I think I was perhaps a bit ignorant on mental health and how her psychotic and manic episode affected her state. I really contemplated it. My ex has been spamming my messages and begging to talk to me so that she can explain. I thought about it, and the truth is that while I have a more objective understanding of how her mental health led her to do what she did, I simply am not feeling empathy for her. My concern right now is to take care of myself, so I've blocked her on everything and also all of her friends. I think that this is the best path forward, rather than talking it out with her, as that could go badly for the both of us. In the comments, Certain Accident says, "Yeah, Mania is a witch, and not the happy sunshine rainbow-shitting unicorns that Hollywood portrays. But you absolutely need to take care of you first. The consequences of her actions are something that she has to live with, even after a manic episode. If we're lucky, it gives her reason to more openly and honestly talk with her doctor and seek the right therapies and medications that will work best for her to minimize episodes, instead of just what slaps a band-aid on it." OP says, "Thank you. I'm taking care of myself and reminding myself that her cheating is her own behavior. Hopefully when I'm well enough to date again, I will date someone who isn't suffering from a severe mental health disorder. As someone who's come through the other side of the same situation, you should probably do a little bit of soul-searching before going out there again. You might be naturally attracted to qualities that end up being red flags for mental health issues, and have to be a little more careful choosing mates. I'm also ignorant on mental health issues. Doesn't matter the reason behind it though. After cheating, I'd be gone. I'm bipolar. Cheating while manic comes up not infrequently in the community. Mental illness isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility, and infidelity is a valid deal breaker regardless of mood state." Good answer. My wife has had manic and psychotic episodes, and while it's extremely challenging on us both, I try to be understanding of the things that she does and says during this time. However, we both exist, and we both have the right to be treated with respect, and there are lines that if she crossed, that not even mental health episode would excuse her for, even if I knew that it really wasn't her or her rational self who carried out the action. As someone with bipolar, who's had some hypomanic, lower in intensity compared to the full-blown mania episodes, I can't even begin to articulate what it's like to not be all there and lose the driver's seat to some overpowering impulses that, at the moment, rewrite your reality and convince you that what you're doing is right. Thankfully, I haven't done anything as destructive, but I've torpedoed several relationships, and I can't ask for absolution because the harm done is real, even if I was not in control at that moment. Full-blown mania is a completely different beast. I'm also bipolar, and hypomania sucks to a degree that I can't explain, but I have had one full manic episode, and I just don't remember it really. It's psychotic. You aren't even remotely yourself, and everything you do is everything you would never do. I heard voices, thought that there was an intruder in my house, didn't recognize my family, left the house barefoot for hours, and went God knows where, etc. OP has no real obligation here, but mania is seriously underestimated, especially if she was not diagnosed prior. Oh, OP definitely doesn't have to stay. The cheating is a deal breaker for many. My whole issue is that unfortunately the mental illness is the cause, and it's not an excuse. I'm honestly scared of ever having full-blown mania. I got diagnosed and on meds as soon as I got through the worst hypomanic episode I've ever had that made me act in some concerning ways. Back then, I only thought that I had depression, but clearly something was very wrong. And then got the worst depressive episode, during which I was so out of it that I still can't recall 3 months of 2019. And yeah, I thought I'd include these comments because I hope that it helps people gain perspective as to what mania is like. And I guess the way that I view it is like a curse, you know? You can just suddenly lose control of yourself. And then you hurt those around you, and you don't even want to hurt those around you, but you're just taken over by something. Your brain is just this fleshy little meatball sitting in some water, being zapped by electricity, and it just starts to malfunction. That's terrifying to me. I don't blame OP at all for putting themselves first and just completely separating from that situation. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to get closure from your girlfriend who wanted to talk to you. That's completely fine, and I respect your choices there. Thank you for posting your experiences online. I very much appreciate it, and I'm glad that it can help people, kind of understand some mental illnesses a bit more. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.